Hi, and welcome to week two of ADHD Awareness Month. And this week we're looking at ADHD and academic success. And today I'm joined with Eleni Spiritus, who is one of our coaches at Empower ADHD and has been the long-standing coach of ADHD Advocate as well, and a very good friend of mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for that, Stephanie, and greetings from New York. And as Stephanie and I and our team have worked on the academic success portion of what we offer, it really doesn't matter where you are. You could be in the States, you could be in EU, UK, wherever it is. The challenges that our students we see facing are really sort of across the board consistent. So that's what we're here to chat about today and give you some ideas about support.
Yes, so our topic today, uni, dopamine, and deadlines, is one that every student and every ADHD can relate to. So we're going to talk about the roller coaster of motivation, why ADHD brains often come alive at the last minute,
Yes,
and
they
what,
do.
yeah, which unfortunately kind of continues on in adulthood as well, right?
That's another time, yeah.
Exactly. And we're going to talk today about why that is, but also more helpfully about what can help students stay on track before the panic sets in. So,
Yeah.
whether you're a student, a lecturer, parent, or a coach, welcome. And yeah, let's dive in. So, Eleni, I'll start off just asking you in terms of the HD coaching, and I guess in terms of these programs we're creating. Dopamine and ADHD, particularly in uni students, those transitioning from school. What kind of challenges would you say you see in ADHD coaching with these students, firstly?
Yeah, it's so hard, Stephanie, because coming into university, all of the supports they've come to rely on are kind of gone, right? Whether it's in the home, with parents, with friends that are in a similar course, whether or not they realize how much they've relied on that support structure, that's now been changed tremendously. So they get to university and realize these deadlines are more often than not, farther off in the future. They're less clear, there's less structure, there's less support. So all of these things together are, a nightmare for many students with ADHD. And we've talked about the importance of having some structure or a roadmap, really, for our ADHD brains to sort of understand where we need to go, right? Because we already know with timing, it's either now or it's not now. And it's very hard to quantify that when an assignment is due 2 or 3 months in the future. So you know it's coming, but getting started is a really hard thing to do. And that sense of urgency is pretty much non-existent and needs to fall on the student then.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it? Because like you said, at school, there's that structure, there's less chance to be, able to get in your own way, less choice. The more ch what we see in coaching, the more choice ADHD is a given, unfortunately, the more opportunity to make the wrong choice, self-sabotage, or just
Mhm.
generally overwhelm sets in because there are too many choices. So it's really hard to do what's needed, in the moment. So yeah, we definitely in our HD coaching, in terms of dopamine, given that there's so many competing sources of dopamine at university, right?
Yes,
Like, do I go to that party or do I stay home and do my reading?
yes.
What do we do to help ADHDers that generally rely on, urgency, last
Yeah.
minuteness as that dopamine source to do what they're meant to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what I've found with students that I've worked with is having structure helps, and coaching certainly helps put that structure in place. But more so with the structure is the sense of success that we get, which is, that dopamine in a form that is really useful for academic success. So if assignments are being planned out or organized and recognizing that you only really need to complete a really small part of that and build on that because again our brains immediately go to this all or nothing kind of scenario rather than sort of taking a more measured stepped approach. So if in planning these assignments we can show students that you only need to do that first bit just to get your sort of toe in the water, and then tomorrow just build on that and build on that, and before you know it they're really on their way to becoming successful. That feeling of achievement is not something that is an easy thing to create once they get to university.
Yeah, they say David Gewirk, founder of ADKA, talks about ADHD being a deficit of momentum. And that's the issue, isn't it? Like you just described, it's the getting started.
Yeah.
Getting started is the hardest thing for all ADHDers, particularly those students, without some of the clarity that they would have had through talking to their teachers or even their classmates. Or even in terms of instructions that are given, usually, a handout in class, it's going to be clearer and more easy to start. Whereas at university, right? Like often, probably no time to speak to lecturers. It's possible that the uni student has no one they know in their lecture, so really can't use that body double strategy to sense check things. And everything's online in this
Yeah.
portal, which
Yeah.
already we know ADHD is in tech. Most of us struggle with tech. And so it can, quite often, like, I don't know if you've done this, but in an ADHD coaching session, sometimes it's just getting the student onto the portal for the first time, holding that space for them to do that.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned two things that are really important, Stephanie, and that is accessing the support that's available, whether it's in the form of a portal or the lecture that they maybe don't think that they can get in touch with. They can. And often in coaching, it is taking the time to show the student this is how you can access supports that are going to help you be more successful, whether that's through the disability offices, reaching out to the professor directly, even that student that maybe they've just met in a lecture, so they can kind of collaborate and get that relationship, to a point where they have somebody they can ask questions with and study with, and that. That's a huge part of it, and recognizing that maybe you need a bit of help, a bit of support, and knowing where to go to ask for it is a huge part of that can really, really help in uni. And that's what I've seen as well.
Yeah, and that's why we do so much work in coaching on rejection sensitive dysphoria,
Yes.
helping our students navigate that, because it's the RSD that makes it really difficult to ask for help, isn't it? We see that particularly with the ADHD student going from school to university, they've got this narrative of, oh, I'm grown up now, right? I got to be independent. I got to do everything myself. I got to show my parents that I'm an adult now, which means, I'm not gonna, which equals not asking for help. But what do we know to be true on that one, Eleni?
Well, it's true. And not only the academic success part of it, which of course is very important, but the living by yourself, the food, the shopping, the time management. And that's a huge part of our ADHD that we know we're going to need to help students manage and regulate. So yeah, all of that. And at university, there is support. But one thing that we've been working on, Stephanie, which is quite exciting, is a program that does kind of address all of this.
Yeah, that's it. Wrexham. Big call out to Wrexham University, pioneers in the UK, maybe the world, in terms of, seeking out very specific ADHD support for not just their students directly, but also training for the DSA helpers, so that they can make sure that the study skills and the specialist mentoring is ADHD informed. So we've honored to be creating our ADHD course online for those students. So I believe that's already starting to be offered to students now. And we're going to be training, we're going to go up to Wales later this month to Wrexham, and that's where we're going to be training the DSA
Yes.
the DSA helpers, which we're really excited about. Yeah, and they just really care. The pastoral staff,
Yes.
the disability team there just really know their stuff and really want to support. And we love partnering with universities and organizations like that. So, yeah, watch this space, but they will be setting the
Yes.
standard, we hope,
Yes.
and be a role
Absolutely.
model, right, for so many other universities is the vision. Because, yeah, it's really tough, isn't it, for students with
Well, it
ADHD?
is. And when I think when maybe professors or staff or other students maybe see something happening, maybe a behavior or reaction, like the procrastination, it's understanding what's underlying all of that.
Yeah.
And when you're talking ADHD, it's a very different explanation than, maybe a student that has a different challenge or a different understanding. So yes, this is a great opportunity to educate university staff and students alike, and we're very excited.
Yeah, we're going to help universities name it to tame it, and we're seeing this same approach starting to be taken, in the corporate space as well. Employers needing to be, that expectation on them to be able to identify that, these particular challenges are ADHD related, and then being able to be more proactive in providing that support. which it's not just for the benefit of the ADHD, obviously, but obviously lecturers, teachers, you're in the profession to teach, to educate, and you're going to be a lot more effective doing that if you are able to look through that lens and
That's
adapt
right.
approaches to better, teach those students. So if anyone has any questions, would like any support, do reach out to us. Hopefully this was helpful. And
Yes.
also, we were on your Wrong About ADHD podcast, I think two
Yes.
weeks ago, about supporting students with ADHD. So we'll put that in the link in the
Definitely.
comment section. But thank you, and thanks, Eleni, for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Yes, we'll see you again.
See you later.